Oh good, you're all back. You guys love this Ronin Senshi belt so much that I have some new products that I added to this belt that I actually want to show you. The two new things I've added and want to go over today are the Ronin Pistol pouches and the Ronin Inner belt liner. And I'm looking forward to trying these out to see if they're actually any good. All right, let's do this. So there's really not much confusion on how popular this Ronin Senshi belt is. I get a lot of praise from both our civilians and from our teams out in the field. One small thing though, SOCOM redefined what belts are allowed, and it's only like 3 of them, and guess what? Cobra buckles are out, so the Ronin Senshi isn't one of them. Regardless though, the Ronin Senshi is also extremely popular for competitions and for just LARPing around. And a ton of you have asked me about these Ronin pistol pouches. So let's go take a closer look at these and then we'll actually go out and test them out and see how they do. Looking at the pistol pouches up close, the ones I got are in this badass multicam design. It uses tegris material on the front and back side of the pouch. This is the same strong lightweight material that we saw and all loved on the Axl Eclipse belt. It then uses this unique elastic material to give a strong bite onto the magazine. The elastic also allows for ease of expansion to fit different size magazines. For retention, I found it to be more like HSGI or G-code mags. It doesn't have like that solid click that you get from like Esstac or Tyr Tactical mags. Similar to Tyr Tactical pouches, they also have a retention strap to lock the magazine in place. The tab is just a small bit of fabric and not really any substantial material. On the Tyr, you can see the tab itself is far more robust. So I don't have a whole lot of faith when I'm pulling on this tab. Anyway though, let me show you how to connect it up to the belt. To connect everything up, it actually includes a strap on the back that's sewn on. This is the same as we see on the Tyr Tactical Mag pouches, and it's nice because you don't need to buy a separate tab to connect up to your belt or to some molly. I didn't have any actual issues connecting up to my belt. I'm really liking this mag pouch so far. Let's load up some magazines and do some reload drills and give it a try. Moving into the reloads, as soon as I started practicing, I noticed, uh-oh, I have a problem. What the hell is going on with this? So look at this. The top of the mag pouch actually covers the bottom lip of the magazine. And this is a deal breaker for me because it covers exactly where I grabbed the magazine. I'm forced to drag my fingers over the top of the pouch to try to get a good pinch on the top of the magazine. Yes, I'm being a bit of a baby here, but it's definitely not comfortable. Look at the difference between the comparable pouches. Here I'll show you the Tyr and the Esstac. The Tyr and the Esstac have better retention and both don't go as high as the Ronin pouches. Having the edge of the pouch being lower allows for a much cleaner grab from the pouches. And even bigger, having it lower like that makes the reload much more consistent. So you probably know what my recommendation is gonna be, but before we get to the pros and cons, let's go ahead and look at this Ronin Inner belt. The Ronin Inner belt uses loop on the outside and is designed to connect into any of the Ronin belts or any other belt that uses hook to connect in the outer belt. So the idea then is that you could use this belt without any inner belt, or you could throw this over a jacket. I don't see how I'm gonna do that without making a ton of adjustments to the actual belt, but let's keep going. The Ronin Inner belt has a really nice non-slip padding on the inner side. You can see how the pad itself has some give to add some comfort to the entire system. On the other side of the belt is the full stitched loop backing I mentioned earlier in order to connect it into the belt. Just make sure you don't just lay out the Ronin belt all flat and then try to connect it. It'll go all wonky once you try to put it on. So what you do instead is you connect it on one side and then roll the belt like it was going around you. And then it'll be shaped to actually fit you. But I'm already seeing a lot of problems. The first one is that the Ronin Inner belt is thicker than the Ronin Inner Velcro fold-over belt that comes with it. So one of the reasons I love this Ronin so much is because it's perfect, as in it fits me perfect. But then if I want to use the inner liner, I have to go adjust it. And adjusting it is a pain in the ass. Everything comes at a cost, and the stiffeners used to make the belt rigid make adjusting the belt an absolute chore. So then on top of that, if you wanted to throw this over a jacket, you'd have to have the whole belt adjusted like really large and then just always run it that way. You couldn't really run this as a competition belt and then just toss this inner liner on so that you could throw it over a jacket later. If you did that, you'd be making so many sizing adjustments that it would be face-punchingly annoying. Well, I think we've seen enough of both products in order to do our pros and cons, so let's start with these Ronin pistol pouches. My first pro in these Ronin pistol pouches are the materials used for construction. The new tegris material and nice elastic show a great step forward in production. My other pro is it has this retention strap included, and I tell you what, it just looks badass. The strap located on the back of the pouch makes the mag pouch complete when you buy it, and you don't need any extra connectors. The pouch itself is also designed with all sorts of really cool marking, and the multicam pattern is sexy as hell. But cons, man, why is the pouch so tall? The mags I'm using are 21 round magazines, and I'm having issues. What about 17 or 15 round mags? Good grief, a 15 rounder just gets eaten in here. I don't know why you design it this way. I even checked the website to make sure that I'm not a moron and I ordered the wrong size, like if there's a tall and a short. Nope, there's only one size, this is all you can get. Alright, so then my next con is this little retention strap. The elastic retention band is quite strong, but the strap itself is a super thin amount of fabric. I have no faith in this fabric at all over the long term. So then, do I recommend these mag pouches? No, I do not. Just with the small amount of time I spent with them today, I'm gonna go ahead and remove them from my belt, and I'm not gonna be using these any longer. The inconsistency in my reloads caused by the high edges of these pistol mags were just a deal breaker for me. Instead, I swapped in the Tyr Tactical Happy Mag pouches for a more military style pistol pouch. And those are my #1 recommendation, particularly on a Ronin Senshi. So what about our inner belt pad pros and cons? Well, the first pro is the inner belt pad and friction material. Again, we see some high quality materials being used to make a belt that works to keep your belt from sliding all over the place when you don't use the normal inner belt connection system. The next pro is you actually use this with other belts. This pad works awesome with the Axl Eclipse belt. The Eclipse is so thin that it doesn't do well as a standalone like the Ronin Senshi can on its own. It just works great with this inner liner. So my cons. The first one, it's thicker than the inner belt that you actually use for your Ronin Senshi. This means you have to adjust the belt to use it, and you have to adjust it every single time you remove it. But this belt is so rigid that if I'm just adjusting it to fit me over and over based on every different situation, then I don't need the inner belt liner at all. The outer belt can be used without the need for an inner belt, but you still have to adjust the belt, and it's a huge pain in the ass due to the stiffness of a belt. It's just not a fast or easy thing to do. So if I use this inner belt pad on my Ronin and then I adjust the whole belt to fit over a jacket, then I lose the perfect fit of the belt. And that's one of the main reasons I love this belt so much, is because it fits me perfectly. And I don't really want to adjust that. So this inner belt liner, yeah, that's going to be a no from me. So hopefully my look at the Ronin pistol pouches and Ronin inner belt has helped you in your purchasing decisions. So I didn't really find myself loving these pistol pouches or this inner belt very much, which is kind of surprising since I love this Ronin Senshi so much. So maybe one of our lucky Patreons will win these. Hey, and that's a good segue. I want to say thanks to all of our Patreon supporters. You're the ones that make all of the amazing things we do here possible. And thanks all of you for commenting, subscribing. Comment down below which of these you like or dislike. All right, everyone, have a good one. Walsh out. My other pro is it has